G'day guys, it's Adam from VideoShowMeHow, and in this video we're going to be installing a Pioneer under-seat subwoofer. Let's get started. You can click on the link if you'd like to see the unboxing of this and everything that comes with. Essentially it's a great kit that has a whole bunch of wiring looms ready to roll, RCA connectors, and even a pretty cool remote that it comes with to control it. So there are lots of different versions of this. We've gone with the Pioneer TS-WX130. Bit of a mouthful, but basically the WX130 is the one we've gone with. It's quite a compact unit, as you can see. Has got a fair bit of heft to it. And the whole idea with these is if you're in your vehicle and you can't fit a full-sized sub enclosure setup, these are great because they literally go underneath your seat, and that's where we will be installing it today. Now the good thing about this Pioneer unit is it is quite compact, and that means that it can easily fit underneath our front seat. This is something you're going to want to bear in mind if you are looking for a setup like this, in whether it will actually fit underneath your seat. Now step one is going to be making sure you have everything you need for the install ready to roll. In this case we have a remote, and this is one of the reasons why I went with the Pioneer, because it has got quite a nice remote so you can control it without having to get underneath the seat while you're driving down the road. That's probably not a good idea. So I have that ready to go. We've got an RCA connector ready to roll. This is a great system because it comes with a full wiring loom, which is all attached, fuse included, and connected by a single plug to the sub itself. We've got some 3M tape to attach said remote and some screws to attach it underneath the seat connection points. Next step, once you've got your wiring laid out ready to roll, the next part is accessing your head unit. Now your head unit may look a little bit different to this. We're installing this in our Jeep, so if you have one of those, then obviously this is going to be pretty straightforward. If you're installing this in a different type of vehicle, you're going to want to access behind your head unit so that you can connect up your RCAs here. Now it is worth mentioning, you're going to need to make sure that your head unit has an output for these. Most aftermarket units will have some RCAs there dedicated to a subwoofer port, and you'll see in a moment when we do undo this one. But before you go any further here, it is worth making sure that your unit does have these outputs, otherwise it's not going to work. Once you've got your 4 bolts off, or whatever your fascia unit looks like in yours, it's then just pulling this guy off, just like that, so that we can access the head unit itself. A few more bolts and we'll see behind it. Once you've got the last of the bolts out, you should be good to go. If you've got a Jeep, this is actually your compass unit, and if you've got a compass or any sort of direction on the dash in your car, this is what that unit's probably going to look like. So you just got to get that out of the way. Make sure you've got enough space here, and other than that, you should be good to pull the head unit out. Now the back of this particular head unit is pretty straightforward. You'll see stuff like this, which is actually a GPS plug there. We have things like this particular unit. So this is a CAN bus, as you can see, and it's common on aftermarket head units, and something like this is basically a decoder that decodes what's going on here, so it works with the whole rest of the car, particularly if you've got a car that has steering wheel controls or anything like that. In this case, the Jeep needs a CAN bus to work with the factory amp, which lives underneath the steering column. We have things like your antenna input here, which is too short, so I've pulled that guy out. And then generally speaking, a whole bunch of different connectors here, depending on what your unit has. Now sometimes you'll have your RCA plugs directly on the back of the unit itself. With this particular one, it has a separate little harness, and this harness has all the different connectors built into one handy little plug. So that plugs in just in here just like that. And then once that's in, you've now got access to a whole bunch of different RCAs. The main thing we want though is this guy, which is for our subwoofer. And that's what we're going to plug our harness for this guy straight into. Now the only other thing we need to do behind the head unit is connect your remote wire. Now that's this guy here. You can see in here it's got amp connect written on there. Yours might say remote wire, RMT, something along the lines. If you're lucky, it'll say something really simple like amp connect. It's pretty straightforward. They're almost always blue as well, so if you don't have any labels at all, probably try that one first. But effectively what this does is when you turn your head unit on, it'll send power to this little wire here, and then you connect your amp to that directly, which will be our other blue wire here. So we just need to connect those two there with a little plug, and that then turns your sub on when you turn your head unit on, and that way the sub's not running always and flattening your battery. Cool, so once you've got your remote wire joined, that's about all you need to do at the back of your head unit. So once again, confirming that you have your RCA connection done to your sub output, and then obviously the remote wire there as well. At this point, I highly recommend not putting all of this away, because if something doesn't work, you're going to be pulling it all back out just to find out where you've gone wrong. So at this point, I would highly recommend leaving this as is and moving on to the next step, which is power. Now when it comes to the power, you've only really got two left here, the blue remote wire, the black is going to be our earth, which needs to go to one of the bolts underneath the seat. And the only other lot we've got is the yellow wire. Now it's a dead giveaway being that we have our inline fuse attached. This guy we're going to be running through the firewall under here and into the battery, which is over there. Now in the case of our setup here, we're running a separate fuse block, so this is what we're going to be using here. But normally you would have your fuse inline here and you would be connecting it straight to your positive side of the battery. When you do wire this up, is take the fuse out, then complete the wiring, and right at the very end is when you put the fuse back in so the system is live. Now once you've got your terminal side of things sorted out, you're going to want to route the wire through the firewall of your vehicle. You want to find an existing grommet, which in the Jeep JK that we're working on here is one on the passenger side. Most cars are the same though, there will be something. It's a matter of poking your wire through there, and then if you come around to the actual interior side, you'll find the wire coming through. You want to pull that all the way through and then effectively route it up under the way to wherever you're going to be mounting your sub. For us, it's going to be under the driver's seat, so we're going to want to route this guy up underneath, all the way under the tunnel, underneath the carpet to the subwoofer. So once you have all your wires run and connected, you'll have a bit of a spaghetti session that's sort of going on here in your footwell. You want to make sure that you have your ground attached, and like I said earlier, there's normally a bolt or three underneath your seat that you can connect into or tacked into our earth here, so that's all done. So you want to make sure that all three of the wires are connected, and in this case the earth, our power lead here, and our remote. So once that is all done, the only thing left really is to make sure it works, and you want to do that before you tidy all this up, just in case something's gone wrong along the way and you don't have to pull everything out all over again. So this guy here is our actual input, which is pretty self-explanatory. It goes straight into this guy here until she clicks in. Then we want to find our remote, which has honestly the longest lead that has ever been known to man. At least we've got some. Next step is to connect that once again straight into the controller plug there. And luckily last, we just need our actual power. So we find where that's gone over here, which looks a little bit like that guy. And that's, once again, it can only go in one way. Just connects in there like that. And there we go, we have everything. You want to make sure that your input level is connected to the right side. We're using RCA, so as you can see in there, we've made sure that our dip switch is connected to RCA and not speaker, because that's the one we're using. The only other thing there is input gain. Resist the temptation to whack it straight to high. Leave it on normal until we do a test, and then you can go from there. So with that all done and connected, we should see some activity as soon as we plug this guy in. There is a little light at the top of your remote, so that should power up. The only other thing we've got left to do is to find where we've kept our fuse and install it, and then turn the ignition on and see what happens. Sweet, so it looks like our head unit is powering up. And there we go. You can just see that the light has come on our remote now. So the only other thing left to do, ladies and gentlemen, is to give it a test. So there you go, that's the install, pretty well complete. Pretty happy with how it sounds. It does add a whole bunch of richness to the sound, especially if you are not running a sub. Pretty happy with it overall. It's never going to be as good as you know, a couple of big 12s or anything like that, but for some pretty sweet sound, I highly recommend it. I'm really happy with how that's sounding. The only thing left to the install is to obviously pack all of this back where it belongs. So it's a matter of reinstalling your stereo back in to its housing. Then with the sub, it's a matter of sorting out your spaghetti Italian party down the bottom here, sorting out what the heck's going on with all this remote wiring, choosing where you want your remote to go. Like I said, I'm probably going to be popping him right there somewhere next to the gear stick, easily accessible, and then you are good to go. Just remember, before you put the sub underneath your seat or wherever you're going to mount it, to install the little clip that holds all your wires in place. So this is pretty straightforward. You just want to make sure that you get all these nice and flat, something like that. Then it's just a matter of connecting this guy with the couple of screws supplied. Simple as that, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe to the channel down the bottom. That's the best way that you can support the channel, and I would super appreciate any of that support, of course. Be sure to check out the unboxing of this particular one if you want to just see what comes with. But other than that, thanks very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.